Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Return to the lockdown episodes, as we're calling them at this time. Joining me today out of the Ottawa region, we have Kelli, also known as Onehoppedbiatch.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for taking the time for letting us talk to you.
Oh, it's like you said, it's lockdown edition too.
Yeah.
I have all the time in the world.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
We're both enjoying our individual beers. What beer are you drinking?
I'm actually drinking Shaggin Wagon, based out of Stray Dog. It's a hazy IPA. See that beautiful haze there. It's actually one of my favorites. I was just there on Sunday, so I just picked up some more while I was there. I was like, gotta taste one of those tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, we've spoken with them. They're awesome dudes. Mark and Justin, I want to say. I may be mistaken. Yeah, so I spoke with them. They're awesome. I love Shaggin Wagon. It's a fantastic beer.
It is a fantastic beer.
But from episode 44 of our show, after speaking with Andrea and John, I have from Spark Beer, Voices Carry Over. My light is bad.
Beautiful beer. Yeah,
Simcoe.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, slightly tart, very tasty beer. And if you're ever in the Ottawa region, Chinatown of the Ottawa region, check out Andrea and John.
Yes. They're great there. Yeah.
So we try and do a virtual, it's a toast. So.
Oh, okay.
A toast.
A toast.
I can't get the sound. Pling.
Oh, yeah.
Tasty beer.
Tasty.
Yeah. Awesome. So what's your story? What got you into Instagram and the life of beer reviewer?
All right. So I will admit, it kind of starts off as a little bit of a sad story, but I promise I won't make it a sad story for very long. A couple years ago, I unfortunately lost my dad. And ever the last year or so, I introduced him to craft beer and I taught him a lot. And he's like, honestly, Kelli, you should do something with this. And I was like, yeah, whatever, Dad. Like, I don't have the talents to do anything remotely beer blogging. So when he passed away, I was looking for hobbies, and it kind of just went back to me always going to breweries and stuff. And then luckily I met my good friend Megan, and she was like, honestly, Kelli, just start a beer blog. Who cares if it's just me and your friends that are listening, reading, whatever you choose to do, just do it. Who cares? And I was like, okay, yeah. And then that's where it all began. I've been doing that about it's a great outlet. It keeps my mind focused, and it kind of just, it gives me something to look forward to, and I plan trips around it. So it's honestly a great hobby for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, craft beer is something else. And the reason I invited you as well as our previous interview the last few weeks is I'm trying to talk about more diversity in beer. And obviously beer is kind of still a boys' game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I do find with craft beer, the ladies are starting to come in a little more, which I think is great to see that it's for everybody the way I see it. So
yeah, it definitely is for everybody. And you can honestly make craft beer literally any way you want now. So to me, it's a beautiful thing for everybody.
Yeah. Excellent. Do you recall how you discovered craft beer?
I do actually. So I've lived here in Ottawa for about 12 years now. I remember just being in the LCBO, and then all of a sudden there was like a couple more choices than there used to be, other than just like macro beers, like Canadian and all that stuff. And then I noticed Bo's, and I was like, oh, it says it's like a lager, so I might as well try that. That's basically what I'm drinking. And then ever since then, like, Bo's just kept, releasing banger of beers after banger of beers, and introduced me to different types of beers, which I had no idea about. And I want to say that was probably about 2012 when I discovered craft beer. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm personally going on about 15 years of craft because we have the Mondial here in Quebec or Montreal. Mm-hmm. So the World Beer Festival, everybody shows up with beer, and you get beer from, Brazil and
so cool.
Norway, and it's like, whoa, it's costly, but it's fun. So that was a good way. And then personally, I discovered it at this place called Brewtopia. It's a local brew pub. Okay. I started with the strawberry blonde because my friend's like, hey, you want to, back in the day, it was like, oh, Coors, woo, bullshit Canadian, that's all I drink. It's the best ever. Nothing could ever top this. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, hey, or try this. I'm like, oh my God, beer could have flavor.
Oh, I know, it's so strange.
The germination continued. I was in Toronto with a group of friends, and one friend's like, "Here, try this Pilsner." Like, well, what's this? He's like, "It's called Steam Whistle."
Oh.
And then from there, it's just like, that's it. I'm not drinking regular beer ever if I have to. Let's just drink this craft beer that I've heard of. Went to an LCBO, spent more money than I should have, came back to Montreal. So,
yeah, the LCBO is actually a great resource for craft beer. Like, that's for sure.
Yeah, it can be dangerous, especially the newer one near Montreal and Hawkesbury. It is gigantic, and their craft beer selection is fantastic. So.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great that you can get to Hawkesbury so easily.
Now, you're based in Ottawa. What would you say is the best LCBO in Ottawa for craft beer?
Oh, that's a great question. So unfortunately, the closest one to mine, like, probably has the worst one, but I want to say the best one is at Lansdowne. So it's at where like the 67s, the Red Blacks and them play. They have a huge fridge, and it's mostly dedicated to craft beer. And it's the only one where you can actually get growlers of like local beer if that's what people prefer. So,
that's very cool.
Yeah, I would definitely go there. Like, their fridge is primarily dedicated to like craft beer and craft cider.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll add that in our show notes as well. Last time I was down, I went at 935 Bank Street. It's called apparently a distribution center.
Oh yeah. Whoa, so that's the way. Yeah.
They had quite the selection when I was there, but I want somebody's like hometown perspective on which is the better one. So for those visiting Ottawa, that's like the place to go when you want to buy beer to bring back to wherever you're from. So.
Yeah, I would definitely go to the Lansdowne selection. It's also right beside a craft beer market, so chances are you have a beer there, they're probably going to have it at the Lansdowne LCBO.
Yeah. Craft beer market's pretty awesome too. So.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Awesome. Onehoppedbiatch, how'd you come up with that one?
Oh, that's a funny story. I always said I wanted a nickname that's like biatch because I'm not actually like a mean person, but I liked something that was kind of sassy. So it started off as like one hoppy biatch, one hop biatch. And then like one day my friend and I came up like, one hopped biatch. That's what it is. It was like, this is perfect. This is perfect. Yeah. So that's basically how it all started. And every time I say, I'm like, oh, I want hopped biatch, they're just like, what? I was like, that's the exact reaction I've been looking for.
It's a fantastic name. It really draws, I find. So
yeah.
It's like you said, it's like I'm not really a bad person, but I feel like I could be a little bad if I want to be.
Yeah. So makes me feel like a bad butt. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you find your inspiration and style for your Instagram comes from?
I try to make it as unique as possible. So I want to say I try to talk about, like, for example, if I'm visiting a brewery, I want to talk about everything. So I want to talk about like the atmosphere. I know a lot of craft like breweries like also have other things to drink other than wine and cider, because I've actually learned that a lot of people who follow me don't even drink beer. So when I learned that, I kind of started gearing towards that. And then I try to not focus as much as on my photos, but I find that that's how you kind of like get people to follow you on Instagram. You got to have those like catchy photos. And then I try to be as detailed as possible because I don't want to gear anybody the wrong direction. I want to tell them if I think a beer is just meh, and then tell them like what I think were the best beers, and then try to gear it towards like, this is easy drinking, this is not so easy drinking, but I enjoyed it. If you don't like easy drinking beers, then likely you're not. So that's basically where I try to go. I try to be a beer blogger for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's only fair. Everybody has different palates, right? Like I enjoy the haze craze right now that's going on with the New England IPAs. I have a couple of friends who are not big fans of strong hoppy beers.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, oh, let's try this crazy stout. And one guy's like, it's made out of espresso. If I want an espresso, I drink an espresso. I'm like, it says espresso stout. We know what we're getting into. So
yeah, exactly. And it's literally made with strong espresso usually.
So that's, everybody's palate's different. I'm the same way with mine. I'm like, here's what I thought was the best, but it might not be yours. And obviously honesty is the best policy. So if you're like, oh, it was meh for me, but give it a try anyways. So
yeah, I have yet to have like a negative review on onehoppedbiatch, and that's non-intentional. It's literally because if I really hated a beer, even if I bought it at the LCBO or something, I messaged like the brewers or like whoever runs their Instagram, and they always were like, "Oh, thank you so much for letting us know. That could have been a batch. Like, do you still have the can? Please let me know like what numbers were on it, because maybe like it's a correlation to when somebody else complained." So the only reason I have yet to have a bad review is because I have yet to have somebody like be like, "Yeah, whatever, you probably just didn't like the beer." It's like, oh, yeah.
Do you use Untappd as well, or it's just your Instagram?
Primarily just my Instagram and Facebook page, and soon to be a website. But I do not use Untappd. I have it, but it's just not for me. But I do use it. Like, I like to use it as a guide of like, oh, I'm going to Montreal. What breweries are listed on Untappd, and what do these people like about this brewery, so I know what to go there and what to expect.
I find it's very helpful too. I'd spoken with a brewer from a previous interview, and he said he found one of his beers was trending really low, which shouldn't have. So then he checked it out, and like you said, it was a bad batch. Bad batch of beer went out. So he apologized. He's like, we found out through Untappd and Instagram. This was a mistake. Let's fix it for everybody. So you know, everything has its benefit, especially in a social media era.
Yeah.
If they're seeing that it's only trolls doing it, that's one thing. But if it's not the trolls doing it, then you're like, okay, let's there's something wrong here. Let's fix this. So.
Yeah, I think like my least favorite thing is there will be people who will say we're like review an IPA or a stout and then hate IPAs and stouts and then give it like 0 stars or whatever the rating system is. And I'm just like, it's like, I normally hate stouts, so I hated this beer. It's like, why would you even bother reviewing that?
Why even buy it?
Yeah, why even buy it? Why even get it on your flight? Like, that's the only reason why I don't primarily use it, but I see the appeal because like you get those badges, and people literally, I guess, make friends on it. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah.
This guy right here.
see, but then that's great. It's just like it's a resource that wasn't for me, but I use it for when I'm traveling for sure.
It's my Pokemon Go.
Oh, so. Well, perfect. Yeah.
Gotta drink them all. So.
Gotta drink them all. Yeah, the trainer badges of
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah,
you know,
or the gym badges. That's the word. Yeah.
They just had their 10-year anniversary. You know, they sent it out there for their fan base to design. You know, they're a very open and interactive company, which is very nice as well. So.
Well, see, I didn't know that. Now that I know that, maybe I might use it more.
I got to say though, your personal Beau's Oktoberfest photo collection was quite interesting.
Yes. Yes. That was a very fun evening. So I took those. Did you watch the virtual Oktoberfest this year?
I did not.
Okay.
I just it's a little frustrating watching all these virtual events and being like, I know the FOMO's there when I see it, so I'm like, no, I have to physically be there and experience this. So.
Yeah. So Beau's Oktoberfest is one of my favorite weekends of the year. So when COVID happened early on, I'm like, it's September. Hopefully it happens. And when they finally announced that it was canceled, I was like, no, I was so upset. But anyways, so when I saw that they had a virtual box, I said, oh, absolutely, I'm going to order that and see what comes in it, because it said full of surprises. And then literally they gave you rolls and stuff. And I was like, well, might as well just participate and just do what I can from home by myself in my living room with my cat. So I did it. I did stein holding, not for me. Kudos to people who can do it more than a minute. And well, cup stacking, that was pretty easy, but it was still pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, having been to Beau's Oktoberfest 4 times in a row, it's a pretty wild event. And for those who can make it to it, definitely check it out, especially if you're a fan of craft, because they have a tent exclusively for craft beer, which is awesome. A bunch of local Canadian bands, which is always fun. Funny story, though, it's the year they started the coach buses.
Yeah.
So I took one from Montreal to Frank Leek because comfortability and a bathroom.
Why I do it too.
Yeah. Hop on the bus on the way home, start to like doze off because I'm I'm on a bus. I can get drunk at the festival. That's awesome.
Of course, yeah.
And then I see a girl run up to these two guys, and she's like, "You're on the wrong bus. This is Montreal, not Ottawa." I'm like, that would have been the funniest thing ever. Just you're all drunk, you pass out, you wake up Montreal.
Yeah.
At midnight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I honestly almost did that last year because I just was not really paying attention. And yeah, I'll admit I probably had too many beers, but like I almost went to Montreal and made my friends go to Montreal too on top of that. Especially because the bus drivers don't check. So it's like
I mean, Montreal's not a bad city to end up at midnight.
Oh no, definitely not.
You know, just let's go get drunker and then just sleep at the train station tonight or something. So
honestly, we would have just took it in stride and found a way home the next morning. Yeah, I can relate to that. I almost did it. I was like, oh no, we gotta go to Ottawa.
That's awesome. Cool. So have you collabed with your Instagram or your upcoming blog or website with any breweries?
No, not yet, but that's actually a dream of mine. So I'm just like waiting till the day when a brewery messages me and they go, Kelly, you want to come help me brew a beer? I'm like, yes, I do. Yeah.
Speaking of brewing, you were recently on the My Adventures in Homebrewing podcast.
Yes. So one of my many goals of onehoppedbiatch was I've always wanted to learn brewing because I'm a big fan of craft beers. Like, and then when I go to breweries, when I meet brewers, I'm always asking them questions, and they went, honestly, girl, just take up home brewing and you'll learn as you go. So my first two batches did not turn out. And then the pandemic happened and a lot of the supply stores were closed. And then I actually, because I'm an apartment brewer, I was relying on other people. But until I went on that podcast, I actually ordered everything that I need to actually brew in my apartment. So I'm actually hoping that I can brew a beer hopefully on Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah, I use a robo brew, so it's an all-in-one system, so I don't have to have as much stuff, and it's a little safer using it inside. So
you just don't want to run propane in your apartment? I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah. So hopefully, and my first beer that I'm pretty sure is going to turn out is just going to be a pale ale, and I'm probably going to name it Nard Dog because I'm a big fan of The Office. Nard Dog Pale Ale. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, as our show, we actually had a friend bring homebrew. He made an English bitter.
Oh,
like super like the maltiness was so well leveled.
Mm-hmm.
We even had one friend, he wanted to crap on the guy's homebrew no matter what, and then he drinks it and he's like, can't say a bad thing about your beer.
Yeah, so, no. It's honestly like when you find a good home brewer, their beer is, it should be sold in stores. Like some of them are just like, damn. Yeah.
Well, I know in Ontario they're allowed to deliver beer during the pandemic, which is very nice. Unfortunately, that's not an option in Quebec. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
like not even on like food apps. Like if you ordered Uber Eats or
not this time. To my awareness,
okay.
I know a lot of us are complaining about it. A lot of craft beer drinkers and breweries are complaining about it, as right we should, because when you see the other province getting it to do it, why can't we? So.
No. Because I would have thought Quebec's liquor laws were a little bit more laxed than most places.
So our beer depanneurs, like our beer specialty stores, can deliver if they wish, but the breweries themselves cannot.
Okay, so you got to do like in-store pickup or just drive.
Yeah, it's wacky. It's kind of sucks. So.
Oh yeah, we're pretty spoiled here in Ottawa. Then almost all of us do it.
I know. Yeah. We were in Toronto a few weeks ago, and it's just like, oh.
So. I know, it's like you could get it delivered to your Airbnb. It's often like sometimes same day, depending
and
where
all the patios open and wide spread out. And
I know. Actually, breweries in Ottawa, like before contact tracing became a law here in Ontario, a lot of the breweries were already doing it before it became a law. Like as soon as you showed up, they took your phone number, and then not just like per table, like for everyone, assuming that nobody lived in the same household, unless you had proof that you lived in the same household. So that's another reason why I'm like, kudos to breweries for never having an outbreak, because they were already above like everybody else. So it's like,
yeah, even as the show, when we went there to interview in Ottawa, they're like, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, just in case, you never know. So let us fill it out. And they're like, but you're just doing an interview, and we're social, as you see in the videos in the last couple of months, we are socially distanced because we're responsible adults who are, drinking an adult beverage, who have to be respectful adults. So, just keep our distance, have our beers, just not shaking a brewer's hands and not taking selfies after is kind of killing me inside, but
unless you take it like as a distance and you wear your masks or something. Yeah. And then everybody only sees what your eyes look like. It's not the same.
And my beard coming out of my mask. So
yeah. Did you get one of those masks that cover your beard?
No.
They look kind of weird, so I don't.
Yeah. I'll wait till the vaccine's out in 2021, hopefully, and we'll go from there. So
yeah, hopefully. Knock on wood.
For sure. So you mentioned early on you started with Beau's. Are they still one of your favorite breweries to get beer from?
Yes, I would say so, because they've stayed consistent, in my opinion. And I also just really enjoy what they do for the community. Especially in Ottawa. I know I'm very lucky to experience a lot of the stuff that Beau's does, because they throw like not Oktoberfest, sorry, St. Patrick's Day party here. And then they're always like having bus tours to and from Van Leek Hill. So if you want to go for an afternoon, they kind of had that option. So for me, it's always been I'm like, you guys are always been so thoughtful for us, especially because they're about an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
They're the middle point, I guess, between Ottawa and Montreal. But yeah, I want to say they're definitely one of my favorites. And in the summer when I went there, I actually got to meet Steve, and I was starstruck. And he could tell that I was starstruck, and it came out of his way to come and talk to me. So after that, I'm like, I love you guys even more.
Yeah. It's always nice to meet. As the show, and personally myself, I have yet to meet a jerk for a brewer or an owner.
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm mentally prepared for that. So I'm just, go with the flow right now. Enjoy everybody's company. Everybody's been awesome for letting us be in their breweries for the show and being like, here, try this beer that's not out yet. Oh, here, try this. It's like, this is fantastic. And people in the brewing community are amazing people. So.
Oh, they really are. Yeah, it's crazy. When Steve came and talked to me, first of all, I was also just impressed that he was waiting in line to go into his own brewery, on the patio to get food. You have all the power in the world, dude, and you didn't take advantage of it. So it makes me respect you even more. And then on top of that, he was genuinely nice. He came in, he talked to me, then he went and sat down with his wife, and then when he left, he came and talked to me again. And then he's like, "Hey, I'm done now. It was so nice talking to you." You did not have to talk to me twice. That to me is amazing.
Yeah, it shows the respect he has for a customer base.
Yeah, definitely.
He knows without us who are drinking his beers, buying things like this.
So, yeah. And also, every time I'm there, there's always the same staff there. So he clearly does something well. Everybody's still there. The taproom manager is the same. All the brewers are still the same. All the front room taproom servers are the same. So Steve's gotten it right from the get-go. So
to my understanding, they're employee owned at this point.
Yeah. And then I went to high school with a girl who does event promotions for them in Toronto, and she loves working for Beau's. And it's damn, that's awesome. I'm jealous.
Yeah. But and they're Canada-wide now, which is amazing.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying that they're not craft anymore, but I don't believe that, because they just brew more frequently. But the only beer that they make frequently or in large batches is Oak Tread. But the other ones are still made in normal size fermenters and other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you. Well, thankfully, like yourself, Toronto, us in Montreal, we're kind of so close to Van Leek that we do get the additional night Marzen and Wag the Wolf and things like that. So.
Oh yeah. I met someone who never had Wag the Wolf, and I was like, "What do you mean you've never had Wag the Wolf? Let me show you. It's the hoppy beer that everybody loves."
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only problem with them is they ran out of the David's Tea beer way too quickly. So.
Oh yeah, you got stock. You had to stock up on that.
Yeah.
It was delightful.
Yeah. So outside Beau's, what are some of your other favorite kind of beers and breweries in Ottawa and let's say the rest of Ontario, places you visited?
That's a good question. So in Ottawa, some of my favorites are Tooth and Nail because all their beers are always fantastic and also great staff there. I have to say Stray Dog is definitely one of my favorites too. Like they were one of the first stouts that I've ever truly loved. Like their Jean d'Arc stout was probably the first one I've ever loved. And then the third one in Ottawa, because there's still some of them I've yet to been to. So I want to say, not Beau's because everybody knows that my love for them. You know what? I'm gonna say Beyond the Pale because like they also make consistent products, and I've been invited to events there before, and they also release a lot of different beers, and they're one of the 2 breweries that did a Black is Beautiful beer here in Ottawa. So, kudos to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there being next to that exercise studio where it was impossible to park to go and buy growlers at the time.
Yeah,
to where they are now is a huge difference.
Like, a big patio, a big like brew house. They have events in the back. Like I know someone who got married there. Like you can do a lot Beyond the Pale. And like I said, they were one of the original ones to do contact tracing when you showed up. So
yeah, very important on top of that too. Anybody you could think of outside of your kind of Ottawa region, some of your favorites?
Yeah, so I actually grew up close to Prince Edward County. So probably my favorite brewery in Prince Edward County would be Strange Brew. He literally started a brewery out of his house in his basement. So literally like the tap room is his backyard, and he clearly just went to, I don't know, like yard sales and picked up whatever patio furniture you could find. And his brewery is like in his basement garage, and then he gives tours all the time. And then literally the rest of it is like he rented the back of a transport trailer truck. And then like that's his chamber. That's where he does all his like milling. That's where he does some of his barrel stuff. Like this is the wackiest setup I've ever seen. And then all of his beers are strange but so good. Like he's probably my favorite within like a 3-hour drive of Ottawa.
Okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. That's totally what we're about, is finding that weird eclectic stuff sometimes. So that's somebody on my future list now that I've heard of them. So
yeah, he literally puts crazy things, and he'll tell you that you're either gonna love it or hate it, and that's just like I'm just trying to stick to my name, Strange Brew. Like I make wine for a living, and this is literally what I want to do now is make beer, and I put stuff together. I think that might work, and I sell it if it comes out okay. So.
Plus named after one of the great Canadian drinking movies. So
yeah, that too. Yeah. Yeah. And then also he has a cat named Cody who comes and greets you. So it's it's a great experience for sure.
I'm starting to see the brewery cats and dogs becoming a little more prevalent in Canada.
Oh, definitely.
I know it's huge in the States. When I was at St. J Brewing in Vermont, I go down the set. They're kind of in a mini mall, and I go down a set of stairs, and there's a big German Shepherd right in front of the door, and I'm like, okay. And then I hear the owner or one of the owners or brewers go, "Barley, get over here." The dog just gets up, gets out of my way, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, she's a big wuss. You could have petted her." I'm like, "Okay, yeah," but you see a giant German Shepherd, you're like, maybe not risk it. So
yeah, especially if like it wasn't going crazy and like happy to see you. Like, totally nerve-wracking.
And then just drinking beers, and I look over into the brew house and just see the dog's head pop up once in a while. It's like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. Like when you sit outside, like Strange Brew is open all year round, so I'd recommend going when you can actually sit outside. But honestly, like Cody and Dave and his brother helps out. Like it's totally a family-run business, but it's truly amazing. And then there's so many other good breweries now in Prince Edward County that keeps popping up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah, Ontario's got it going right now. I know at the beginning of Ford's thing, they produced a guide of how to open a craft brewery to Ontario. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. Ontario, like every time I look on Instagram, like, oh, it's another new brewery in Ontario I have to follow, and they're only like 3 hours away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So crazy. Yeah. Same with Quebec too. It's overwhelming how many you guys have there now.
Yeah, it's starting to come along. It's not as quick as I find Ontario is, because Ontario it's at least 2 for 1 at the moment. Sometimes 3 to 1, because apparently in Toronto it's just like, oh, a new brewery here, oh, a new brewery here. It's like, whoa, can't drink all the beer if you keep making more of it. So
yeah, I've only been to a small fraction of Toronto breweries, and I don't even know if I could make them all. Like, no, there's like a Toronto trip for a week. I don't think I could.
62 breweries in the GTA right now.
That's so crazy.
That's a month.
Yeah. If you're responsible, it's a month.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm the driver on our show, so.
Does your videographer?
Yeah, I buy more beer than he does, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair.
So I just sit in my room and drink more than during the weekends and when I'm doing interviews. So.
Oh, definitely.
Some of your favorite past Beercations you've been on.
All right, so I've been on a couple Beercations. My favorite one was definitely Nova Scotia. I went there only thinking maybe it would be like a handful of breweries. No, there's one on every block.
Awesome.
It's actually incredible. When I first went, this is like 2017, Two Crows Brewing wasn't even open a year yet. So it's pretty cool that I got to go there. Then I got to see Garrison and Propeller. And then Unfiltered, Good Robot. And they're all like in walking distance, which is crazy. You never have to drive. Like, you can literally drink at all of them. And as soon as you say you're from out of province, they're just like, oh, let me show you everything. Like, it's incredible. And then I would probably say Vermont. I only primarily did Burlington, and I was only there for not even 48 hours, unfortunately. So I didn't get to go to a lot of them, but I got to go to Foam Brewery, High Gravity in Queen Street. Is that what it's called? It's across from High Gravity.
Well, there's Queen City and...
Queen City, that's what it was, because it's primarily German beers, Yeah,
so it's Queen City, and across the street is... I don't think it's High Gravity. Zero
Gravity, that's what it is. I'm thinking of the t-shirt brand, High Gravity.
Zero Gravity's Marzen is fantastic.
See, I went in May, so the only ones they had were their seasonal, like not even their seasonals, just like their flagships. So I had like the Pale Wolf Pale Ale and the Green State Lager. Those are the two that I primarily remember.
Yeah, their Green State Empire is their big one that you could find across North America. Oh, well, across the U.S. to my understanding. So.
Yeah, great. And then, the one across the street was all German beers, like, to me, which was also pretty cool, because I've never been to a brewery that was strictly only German beers before. Just like, this is actually so cool.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
I was also going with non beer drinkers, so they made me hike and stuff all the time.
And about a 10-minute walk from both of them is Switchback, which is also fun. So.
Oh yeah, it was on my list. I didn't make it.
There's I think it's the Vermont Brewers app or something. You can actually get a map of all the Vermont breweries. So.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, like I went to Stowe, and apparently you can do a hike, and at the end there's a couple breweries or something at the end. It's like, none of my friends wanted to do that hike. I had to climb mountains.
Yeah. I did Stowe during the summer, and they send you through the mountain on a twisty, drivey road. And I'm like, I'm glad I'm doing this sober, because even one beer in, I'm probably, and there's also no sidewalks. So you have pedestrians and cyclists you have to worry about too. It's never, ever drive through Stowe if you've even had one beer.
Oh yeah. No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have went to Zero Gravity again, because they had like a Bernie Pale Ale or whatever. I just would have loved that. Just especially, I'm like, finally a beer, a homage to him. Because he's from Burlington, Vermont. That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. When it's so I use this caveat right now because we're all aware of how the world's condition is. When it's safe to travel again, when there's a whole lot less COVID, and it's a whole lot more affordable flights to get back on because the COVID tax is gone after we've financially recovered from it. What are some beercations you'd love to go on?
Okay, so number one, because I know I primarily could afford this, I have three. So first one, I'm going to go to Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Because I've only heard great things. There's literally 3 breweries per block or something crazy like that. And since I'm a brewer, a home brewer, I would love to go at the same time when the She Brew Festival happens. And it's like one of the original like all female home brewing festivals. So I would love to go and experience that. And maybe if I'm lucky, they'll let me be a judge. I know I couldn't submit my own beer, but and then just because one of my good friends just moved there, Calgary would be another one because apparently there's 40 breweries just in the city of Calgary now.
So the Canadian Brewing Awards came out about a couple of months ago, and Alberta is heavy on that list. I don't know about just Calgary, but Alberta covers the list of gold medals. So.
Yeah, and then obviously if I was to go anywhere else in Canada or North America, I should say, I would probably definitely go to Germany. I've been to Germany, but I didn't go and appreciate the beer. And now that I've gotten more into Belgian beers, I would go to Belgium for sure.
Yeah. I have the hairstyle of a monk, so I want to drink with a monk.
Oh my God, that'd be so cool. So, yeah. Imagine being like, oh, I had this beer, and then you have it here in Canada. It's like, it's not the same. It's not.
I've had Trappist Abbey before. This isn't fair.
This isn't fair. So. Or I guess I'd also go to like the Czech Republic too. And I heard China has a really big craft. Yeah. Is it China? Yeah, China does. Yeah.
I'm drawn to South Africa. Apparently they have quite the awesome beer scene right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's something I did not know about. That's cool.
Cape Town and Johannesburg. There is a documentary called Brewing the Republic.
Oh, cool.
I watched it on Tubi, so I had to watch the commercials and stuff, but it's like, this was just like dirt before, and now it's this beautiful looking brewery. I'm like, wait a second. How does that work?
Yeah, how does that work? So. Oh, that sounds incredible. I've always wanted to go to Africa, so definitely will put that onto my beercation. What about you? Where would you go?
South Africa is one of them. Real Oktoberfest, never been. Have to go.
Yeah, same. I gotta go to Real Oktoberfest.
And then friends mentioned Japan's actually got a really good beer scene going on right now. So.
Oh my God, yes. 2 of my really good friends, they go every year, and they keep telling me like, Kelly, all this craft beer everywhere in Japan. It's insane. Yeah. Like, oh, okay.
And then for driving distances, since you mentioned it, I got to get out to the Maritimes now.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely do.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive through Montreal, through the US to hit Maine, and then head up to.
Yeah. Okay. One thing I must say about when you go to the Maritimes, especially in Nova Scotia, you have to go to Lunenburg and then go to Shipwright. It's attached to a hotel, like a little boutique hotel. The head brewer, Kelli, she went to the Niagara Brewing School or college and then moved out there to open up a brewery. Best Kolsch I've ever had in my entire life is there.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to, we usually add all this stuff in the show notes to get the people going, and we'll have Instagram pictures and stuff coming up. So definitely all this stuff I want to check out. And then like you, Portland, Oregon, and San Diego, California. So.
Oh yeah, I would like to go to San Diego because they have a homebrew convention there too every year.
And then at some point, I'd love to hit the GABF. So.
Oh yeah, definitely too. Yeah.
There's a lot. Thankfully, kind of this year, getting to work from home's allowed me to save money. So.
Same.
maybe travel a little bit. So.
Same. But I assume if I'm going to go out of all my lists, the first place I'll probably end up going is Calgary specifically, because I'm more likely to go there anytime soon. Even when the world becomes normal, who knows if we're allowed to travel anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll see. Humanity survived plagues before. We're going to survive a plague again. It's just we have to be a little more serious than what people are.
Yeah, definitely.
We are a society now where we get everything right away. So if we can't get it right away now, people are freaking out. We just got to get past that, kind of chill out,
Oh yeah. Stay at home, Get home delivery if you can.
Yeah, no, I'd love to get home delivery in Quebec.
I know, sorry. Touchy subject.
It's okay.
Touchy subject.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts right here.
It hurts.
But there is Craft Tap, which we've interviewed one of the owners at your Shad, and they deliver beer from across Canada to where you live. So.
Oh, so is that like the Amazon of beer then?
Yes, they want to be the Amazon of alcohol in Canada.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, well, I mean, if you ever want certain beers in Ottawa, I'll send you beer mail.
We'll have to talk off show.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, hit me up.
Awesome. Sounds good. So you mentioned you're developing a website and you're going to be working on a blog. But where else do you see your Instagram and all that stuff going in the future?
Okay, so a lot of my friends will constantly ask me beer questions, and then I explain it to them based on like how I learned, and they're still just like, what? I'm like, okay. So my goal is with my website that I'm going to do like hops 101, but explain it as simply as possible, like malt 101, beer types 101, like, just in simple terms, because even when I read them, I'm like, what does that even mean? Even as a home brewer, I'm just like, I know what that means, but I don't. But anyways, and then I'm actually working on a craft beer guide of Canada. Me and my friend who is a graphic designer, her and I are collabing on that. Since the Ontario, they keep, every time I get progress, I'm like 10 more just opened in this like specific place, just because I know we can't go anywhere anytime soon. And then I would also maybe in Ottawa like to try and do like an all women brew competition, because we currently do have like brewing clubs here in Ottawa, but they're all male dominant and they're not very welcoming to women. So as you said, you listen to so the mob, like members of Parliament, as a woman, I said one thing, they like disregarded my question, and then they have a lot of off-topic stuff, and then a woman had said something like, you seem to only be on here to talk about your swarmy political views, and I went, okay guys, like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like you can't call her swarmy when you're being swarmy too. So, you know what I mean? So my goal is like start off locally, because I can think of 2 female brewers here in Ottawa, and I'm sure there's more that aren't on Members of Parliament or not on Instagram. So try to get out there. So I would personally love to have an all-female brew competition just here in Ottawa, and then if it does well, then move on, like get bigger. There was one in Toronto in 2016, but I don't think that's happened ever since. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically where I'd like to go. Those are my small term goals. If you need a judge on that,
an unlicensed judge of any way, try all those beers.
Yeah, like I would, like that's funny that you say that, because I would love to have like a winner that's like like that has the credentials or whatever to judge. Like, because you guys also have great taste palates, and then there's like the people who have the certifications. Like, it would be really cool to see like the certification people might like this beer and this one, and then like, not saying that everyone's a winner, but if I could get like 20 people and then have like 6 like winners, and I think that to me is great. That's basically where I'm trying to go.
It's awesome because you have like some real aspirations and you sound very driven. So that's fantastic to hear as well. Have you ever thought about doing a Cicerone or a Prud'homme or a BJCP or anything like that?
Yeah, so I was going to do Prud'homme, then COVID happened. And then so I was about to sign up, and then it's like, never mind, due to COVID-19, we're not going to do it here in Ottawa. So if I wanted to, I could, go to Toronto and do like level 1 or 2. But that's just an added expense to like the expense that already is. It's like $300, I think, to do each level. But yeah, like I would love to do that and maybe eventually get my cicerone, but that's a lot of money and a lot of time. So, and as you know, I have a full-time job.
Yeah. Well, as do most of us who aren't brewers and stuff, we do need full-time jobs to support our beer drinking habits. So.
Yeah. Oh, and the first two things that I'm launching on my website, since I work in intellectual property, the head of my IP department, he used to own a brewery, so he's going to talk about trademarks and trademarking, like if
Mhm.
you're, and then my good friend who actually just moved to Calgary, he is going to talk about patenting beer. So if like you have a certain like science composition on like how you like anchor steam in San
Yeah.
Francisco. Their stuff is patented, so he's going to talk about that too because that's a big question that I get when people find out. They're like, "How do I patent my beer?" Like, well, I'm
See,
not a patent scientist, but I'll help you.
yeah, I
I
love
know
that
something.
idea. My only thing I don't like is like Stone Brewing suing everybody for the word stone right now. Not cool.
Oh yeah, that's not cool.
So, but
No.
that's so therefore, when I go back to the States, I will not be buying Stone beer because
Yeah.
I believe
No.
in supporting the little guy, and you're trying to take them out. So,
Yeah.
uh, I say the views and opinions expressed on this show are solely mine,
Yeah.
but I do believe that that shouldn't happen. I see a lot of these guys, especially in Canada, are willing to get together, collaborate, do some stuff. It's
Yeah. Exactly.
why not work with these other people? They're not taking money out of your pocket. Craft
Mhm.
beer drinkers have disposable income, so
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. One of the biggest brewery battles that I remember in trademarks, this happened last year, was Molson Canadian used everybody calls it different. I call it the Muskoka chair, but some
okay,
people called it the Adirondack chair or whatever.
yeah,
And then in the West Coast, but Muskoka like had trademarked every variation in Canada of the Muskoka chair, and then Canadian actually put it on their T-shirts and then like shipped it out, and then Muskoka was like, uh,
yeah,
yeah, that's probably where the small guy beat the big guy, just like
yeah.
that in trademarks. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Sometimes, I mean, Molson on
Yeah.
top of that, so
Yeah, exactly. So they did not have a chance because it's like we trademarked it on this side,
yeah,
on this side, and the word, and like this and that. Like I'm like, yeah, you guys. As soon as I saw it in the news, it's like, oh yeah, Molson does not have a chance.
very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome to hear. I love hearing when the little guy beats the big guy. So it's
Yeah,
always
even though Muskoka is one of like the bigger brewers in
yeah,
Ontario, but still, I was like, kudos to you guys. Like, and it costs a lot of money to do that stuff. So
yeah. No, that's it. You could drag it out, lawyers' fees and all that stuff. It's
yeah,
kind of unfortunate, but it's good to hear that somebody like Muskoka won. One of my early interviews, he had to change his brewery name because somebody else in Canada have it, and he didn't want to go through this stuff. So
yeah, yeah.
um,
Like the most thing that like most smaller breweries would have to go through are like cease and desist letters. So if
mhm.
you name something like after a band, like the band might send you a letter, but then they might not make you stop using that name. They just might be like, you got to change like the marketing of it, like
Yeah,
change like the font, like do this, do that, So
yeah.
yeah,
No,
it's pretty funny.
100% for sure. But
Yeah.
hey, we should all get along, especially now, especially with what's going on.
Oh, definitely,
We
for
have this
sure.
technology that's bringing us together. It should be, in my view, it should be bringing everybody together and not separating us like people use
Hmm.
it for.
Yeah.
But that's obviously, I'm try to be a little more open minded than some other people, but
Yeah.
we're all one human race. Let's get along. So,
I 100% agree. Yeah.
all right, this is an awesome talk. I have no other questions for you today.
Okay.
Um,
That's good.
I really appreciate you taking your time and letting us talk to you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Yeah. So let everybody know where they can find you online, what the future website's going to be, if it's available, or if you know what you're going to do, and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on Instagram at onehoppedbiatch, and then you can find me on Facebook at like Facebook/onehoppedbiatch, and then soon to be onehoppedbiatch.com.
Awesome. And you're going to get some 101 lessons on onehoppedbiatch.com. So definitely, if you're trying to learn, check it out. As for us, allbeerinside.com is the website where we have our kind of monthly audio get together with the guys. At All Beer Inside is on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.